Good evening, my dear friends. Many people are preparing for GATE and other PSU exams, right? Therefore, here the aptitude is a very important subject in order to get good marks and all because it's the easiest subject that easily you can score in it. So here I want to give some shortcuts related to this particular question. Number of squares in a square, number of rectangles in a square, number of squares in a rectangle, number of rectangle in a rectangle. How to find out? I'll tell you few shortcuts. Simple thing. If you see here, it is a square. Square means number of rows equal to number of columns. Here I have given an example like this, and here I have given you a rectangle. So here number of rows not equal to number of columns. I have given an example here. So I'm telling you this. If you take a square, number of squares, this is one square, one square, one square, one square, this whole one square. So how many squares are there in this square that you need to find out? Okay, you are getting here 2 by 2, but what about if they are giving a 4 by 4 matrix, 5 by 5 matrix? Then it's difficult to find out, right? So that's why I want to give you shortcuts and all. And number of rectangle, this is one rectangle, right? This is one rectangle, right? Like that. How many rectangles are there in a square? You need to find out. Here also it looks like a square, right? It looks like a square, right? So how many squares are there in a rectangle, and how many rectangles? This looks like a rectangle, 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 then rectangle. Like how many rectangles are there in rectangle? So I'll tell you easiest way. So let's look into this. So first, how to number of squares in a square. You know, right? Sum of squares formula. It is simple. Just remember like that. N into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6. It's simple. It's like this only. And if you want to find out number of rectangles in a square, how you can find out? If you remember sum of cubes formula, it is that only. N into n plus 1 by 2 whole square. You're getting it right? And now number of squares in a rectangle. How to find out number of squares in a rectangle? Easiest only. It is m by n, right? So simply what you have to do, m into n plus m minus 1 into n minus 1 plus, and so on. You need to decrease one by one like that. So you need to have a decrement of 1 for row as well as column, like that until it becomes 0. So then overall addition you need to find out. And number of rectangles in a rectangle. How to find out this one? This is also easiest one only. You can start from 1 plus 2 plus and so on up to how many rows are there, and same 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on up to number of columns are there. So it's very easy, right? So now I wanna solve this question. So it is how many? 2 by 2 matrix, right? 2 by 2 square. It is 2 by 3 rectangle. Number of rows to number of columns. Okay. So I'm going to solve this question. See how to solve this question. It is 2 by 2 matrix. So how many squares are there in this square? So it is 2 by 2 matrix, right? 2 into 2 plus 1 into 2 into 2 plus 1 by 6. So 2 into 3 into 5 by 6. 6 cancel, total 5. 5 squares are there in this square. Can we count it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Total. This overall, this one also 1 square. Total 5. So you got it right? How easy this question is? Yeah. Let's look into the another question. How many rectangles are there in a square? So in this, how many rectangles are there? Easy formula. So 2 into 2 plus 1 by 2 whole square. So 2 into 3 by 2 whole square. 2 to cancel, 3 squares, 9. So you got it? How many rectangles are there? Here I am telling an important note that you must mind it. Every square satisfies the definition of a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square, since rectangles have unequal sides. You understood? That's why here number of rectangles in a square means this can be a rectangle, 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 overall can be a rectangle. Total how many? Total 9 rectangles are there. So this is how we have 9 rectangles. So this is how we need to solve these questions. Now when it comes to rectangle, it is a rectangle. If you see here, it is a rectangle. Now we need to find out number of squares in a rectangle. Here I'll tell you how to find out squares in a rectangle. Here it is a rectangle, 2 by 3 rectangle. So you need to find out number of squares in that rectangle. So if you see that question, it's number of rows 2, number of columns 3. See how to start. So 2 into 3. For third question I'm solving this. 2 into 3 plus 2 minus 1 into 3 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 into 2 minus 1. It is becoming 0 now. So this is overall 0. You stop it here. 2 3s are 6 plus. So 1 2s are 2. Total 8 squares are there in a rectangle, 2 by 3 rectangle. So you're understanding, right? And next, the last one. How many rectangles are there in a rectangle? See, it's a 2 by 3. So I told you already a shortcut here. So it is 2 by 3. So 1 plus 2 into 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to here. So total 3 into 6. 3 6 are 18. Total 18 rectangles are there in a 2 by 3 rectangle grid. See, some people call it as a matrix, some people call it as a grid. Generally it is a grid only, then people they indicate different. So this is how you need to solve. So I told you this will be applicable for any type of question, like any type of grid.